investor friends, I'm Michelle Markey and I'm back with another installment of the top high yield interest bank accounts as of August 2023. And we've got some lucrative high yield savings accounts that you could go for because the Federal Reserve raised their Fed funds rate to 5.25 to 5.5% as of their last July 26th meeting. And that means more interest for you and I. So I'm super excited to share some of these options because there are now many high yield bank options that are giving you 5% and up, but you got to make sure you read the fine print. So I wouldn't just go signing up to any of these without doing your due diligence. And if you enjoy learning about interest and trying to get the most interest you can, please like and subscribe to my video and YouTube channel and let me give you some of my suggestions. If you like saving like me, you're going to enjoy seeing some of these nice rates. Like Betterment is offering 5.5% and Redneck Checking is giving 5.3% up to a certain limit. So make sure you pay attention to limits that some of these accounts can give you that interest toward, because sometimes it's unlimited as much as you can put into the account and other times it's capped. So you got to make sure, like I said, to read the fine print and double check all of the conditions, because some of these accounts make you jump through more hoops and that may or may not be worth it depending on what your goals are and what you're looking to get out of any given bank or credit union account. And this time what I've noticed is there's a lot more credit unions giving money market or savings yields that are pretty competitive in the 5% and up range. Like some of them giving healthy interest rates like 5.25%. And I discovered that from a site like raisin.com, which is pretty cool because I hadn't seen that website before. And another good website to check interest rates and also reviews are bestcashcow.com. So those are some options that you can survey and read about other people's experiences, because you can find valuable feedback and avoid a lot of the headaches that some other people have gone through by just learning a little bit about these accounts before you were to sign up, because there's nothing more aggravating than having to sit on the end of a line of a customer service call or with a chat bot and not really going anywhere fast. So you're going to want to make sure that it's a reputable bank that is highly rated by other people. And so with some of that in mind, you're also going to want to be careful about some things that look a little bit too good to be true, like this Join Save website that, even though it seems appealing, they are potentially offering 9% of a savings rate for perhaps a year. But it also says that some of that is based on market returns. So if that's referring to the stock market, then that's not a typical savings account. So you got to make sure to look up carefully what it's telling you and understand before you were to sign up. And as always, none of this is advice. It's just for your education and entertainment purposes. So I hope that helps you along your journey. And if you've watched some of my previous videos on this topic, you know that I'm all about the lowest minimums to have an account open or to maintain, and zero fees to have an account open, and also no cap on the amount of interest I can earn. So those are some of the top things that I look for, and there may be other factors that are important to you, like no overdraft fees. So you got to look at each individual account to see what they're offering you and whether the pros and cons are worth it. So with some of that, as an example of another account that looks very promising but makes you jump through a lot of hurdles, is something called Mango Savings, where if you want to get 6% interest, you have to make $1,500 monthly purchases, and you can only get the 6% up to $2,500. So to me, that might not be the most appealing, because why should I be spending money just to earn money? So to me, that's not an idea of a good time. Whereas there are some other options. Like I know some people who are fellow millennials, like Betterment or Wealthfront. So you may want to explore what options exist at these brokerage/savings accounts. And then also there's Redneck Checking, which I've given high praise for in the past, but you got to make sure you understand their terms, because there's a few hoops you also got to jump through if you want to get their very delicious 5.3%. So put that on the grill and let it marinate. And so also further down are Connexus Credit Union Money Market with 5.26%, and that's the same with Total Direct. And there's a bunch that give you 5.25%, like Fitness Bank, which I've been pretty fond of because I like the idea of being able to do a bunch of steps and get interest. So to me, that seems pretty appealing if you're an athletic or like being an active person. And there's also LAC Capital Federal Credit Union with 5.25%, Millie Bank, New Tech Bank, Ocean First, Pacific Western, and UFB Direct that are all giving you 5.25%. And then there's American First Credit Union and Sky One Federal Credit Union at 5.24%. Optimum Bank, Patriot Bank, and State Bank of Texas giving you 5.22%. And Border Bank and Oklahoma State Bank giving you 5.21%. Western Alliance, Grand Bank, Cloud Bank 247 giving you 5.2%, CFG Bank giving you 5.17%, Green State Credit Union giving you 5.16%, Ada Bank giving you 5.15%, and the same with Blue Federal Credit Union, Columbia Bank, FNBO Direct, Hanover Bank, Ponce Bank, Popular Direct Savings, and VO Bank, Cornerstone, as well as Western State Bank, all giving you 5.15%. And just make sure you pay attention because there's a few different Western named banks. So make sure you find the right one if you were interested in those banks. And there's also Mission Valley Bank giving you 5.12%, Select Bank giving you 5.11%, Bank 5 Connect at 5.1%, Bank Purely giving you 5.05%, Transportation Alliance Bank doing business as Tab Bank 5.02%, Salem 5 Direct 5.01%, and then Basque Bank at 5%, which is actually pretty decent if you also look at some of their offerings. Like you could either get a normal high yield rate of 5% or their American Airlines points if that's something you're interested in. So give that a look, see if that appeals to you perhaps. And then there's Bread Savings at 5%, Consumers Credit Union at 5%, but starting at 3% because there's some conditions and hoops you got to jump through. Dollar Savings Direct 5%, and many more at 5% like First Foundation, Merchants Bank of Indiana, My Banking Direct, Valley Direct, Vero Savings, and Virtual Bank, a division of First Horizon Bank, all giving you 5%. And then for the ones that are below 5%, which you may not be as interested in because you have more than 40 that are giving you this 5% and up range. So kind of like why bother with some of the lower, higher yielding accounts? But for your reference, there's Northern Bank giving you 4.95%, Ivy Bank giving you 4.8%, and same with Wealthfront. And IGO Banking is 4.78%, Quantic Bank Savings 4.75%, Sallie Mae 4.75%, and the same with TIAA Bank. And Canadian Imperial Bank USA is 4.67%, even though it's kind of a funny name because if it says Canadian, you kind of think that it's not for the US. So I guess that's why they put USA at the end of that line. And Brilliant Bank giving you 4.65%. And that's the same with Citibank, Jovia Financial Federal Credit Union, Ridgewood Savings Bank. And then there's Presidential Bank giving you 4.62%. Citizens 4.5%, and a bunch are giving you 4.5%, like Lending Club and PNC Bank, Prime Alliance, Rising Bank, SoFi, and Synchrony, all giving you 4.5%. And finally, Ally Bank at 4.4%. And some of these used to be more competitive earlier on when the Federal Reserve was first raising some of their rates, but some of them seem to have kind of plateaued. Like I remember earlier on, T-Mobile Money used to also give a whopping 1% back when nobody was giving any interest. And at one point, they were also the highest at 4% if you were a T-Mobile customer and you only got that up to $3,000. But as you can see with my list of 70 bank or credit union accounts, they've way fallen off. And so the minimum now I've got here is Ally at 4.4. So kind of you're looking at pretty competitive rates if you were to go with any one of these. And as long as you do your homework, make sure you understand all the terms, hopefully you would be satisfied. And make sure you also double check things like how much money you can transfer between accounts on a daily basis, or how much you can take out with an ATM, or some of them might not even send you an ATM card. And just double check what some of the rules and conditions might be, because for some people, they might want to have paper checks to be able to write their rent check with, but others that may not be as important if you just do everything online and you get no physical paper of any sort, or you don't even have a brick and mortar building to go to. So definitely some pros and cons with some of these, but I hope all of this feedback helped you and can help you make an informed decision about what your next high yield bank account could be. And a few final tips I've got for you is if you're wondering about certificates of deposit or CDs, it depends on what your timeline goals are. Like if you're looking to have your money accrue higher interest levels, but then you might have to lock it up for a few months to a few years. It all depends on how liquid you need your money to be. And for this video, I didn't look into CDs, but some of them are offering pretty competitive rates if you're interested in some of those, where there are plenty of options giving you 5% plus. And also in the past, some have asked me about money market mutual funds, like in a brokerage account. And all of this depends on who your brokerage account provider is. Like if you've got a Vanguard or Fidelity or Schwab, they all have their own money market account funds. And you got to look at what some of those options may be, because there's not a one size fits all, but a lot of those offer some competitive rates as well. And I encourage you to read the prospectus of those and double check what they're offering and in what kinds of money market instruments they're invested in, because money market is typically short-term debt, and some of the money market funds could be in more US government treasury bonds or maybe municipal bonds, and you generally tend to find those a little bit safer. I put that in air quotes because nothing is ever promised or safe when it comes to investing. And also there's some more commercial paper money market mutual funds, which I'd be a little bit careful about. So I personally steer clear of some of the money market funds based on commercial paper, or this is corporate debt. So that's what I would do, but I'm not saying what you should do. That's just my personal experience that I want to just put out there in case it's something to consider. So with that, if you enjoyed this video about high yield interest bank and credit union accounts, I hope you'll like and subscribe, and I wish you well on your journey to getting the most interest you can. Till next time.